Captain Jaewon Park stood motionless on the bridge of the USS Horizon, his dark eyes scanning the massive holographic display that showed the assembled alien fleet. The spacecraft surrounding them looked like intricate mechanical sculptures, each vessel representing a different species from across the known galaxy. Soft hums of advanced technology and the occasional beep of complex navigation systems filled the background. The human delegation consisted of just 5 representatives, 3 military personnel and 2 diplomats. Compared to the elaborate alien delegations, they looked almost plain. Jaewon wore a simple dark gray uniform with minimal insignias, his posture straight but not rigid, conveying a sense of quiet confidence. Consul Riven from the Orbital Collective stepped forward, his tentacle-like appendages moving with deliberate slowness. The translation device hummed softly, converting his complex language into clear English. "Humans," he announced, a hint of condescension dripping from his words, "your technological presence here is interesting." The word interesting sounded more like an insult than a compliment. Several alien delegates chuckled, a sound that was part mechanical, part biological, creating an unsettling harmony of mockery. Jaewon's communication officer, Lieutenant Sarah Kim, maintained a neutral expression. She knew the stakes of this first major intergalactic diplomatic encounter. Humanity had spent decades preparing for this moment, developing technologies in secret, building a fleet that was compact but potentially deadly. The alien representatives seemed more amused than concerned. Their technological displays showed massive ships with complex energy signatures, weapons that could theoretically obliterate entire planetary systems. In comparison, the human vessels looked almost primitive, sleek but small, with clean lines and minimal external complexity. "We appreciate the opportunity to meet," Jaewon responded, his voice calm and measured. "Earth comes in peace and seeks mutual understanding." More soft laughter emerged from the alien delegation. A reptilian delegate with iridescent scales whispered something to its companion, causing a series of clicking sounds that the translation device interpreted as derisive commentary. What the aliens didn't know, what they couldn't see, was the advanced technology hidden beneath the simple exterior of human ships. Years of careful research, technological breakthroughs, and strategic planning had prepared humanity for this moment. Lieutenant Kim's console suddenly flickered. A coded message from Earth's Central Command scrolled briefly across her screen, a reminder of their true capabilities. She caught Jaewon's momentary glance, a silent communication that spoke volumes. The meeting continued, with alien representatives discussing trade possibilities and potential collaboration. But their tone remained patronizing, treating humans like a newly discovered species that might be quaint but ultimately inconsequential. Jaewon listened carefully, observing every interaction, every subtle movement. His military training had prepared him for diplomatic encounters that were as complex as any battlefield strategy. He understood that this meeting was more than just an exchange of words, it was a first test of humanity's place in the galactic community. As the discussions progressed, subtle tension began to replace initial amusement. The human delegation remained composed, answering questions with precision, demonstrating knowledge that slowly began to intrigue some of the more open-minded alien representatives. The room's atmosphere gradually shifted. What started as mockery was transforming into a cautious curiosity. Humanity, it seemed, was not as simple or predictable as the alien delegates had initially assumed. When the first session concluded, Jaewon knew they had accomplished something significant. They hadn't tried to impress or intimidate. They had simply been present, calm, and professional. As they prepared to leave, Consul Riven approached Jaewon. The translation device captured a more nuanced tone, no longer completely dismissive, but not yet fully respectful. "We will be watching your species," the consul stated. Jaewon simply nodded. "We look forward to future interactions," he replied. Little did the alien delegation know that this was just the beginning of a relationship that would soon dramatically change the balance of power in the known galaxy. The border regions between human colonies and alien territories had always been tense, but now they were becoming dangerous. Small skirmishes began to erupt like tiny sparks that could quickly become a massive fire. Captain Jaewon Park watched the incoming reports with growing concern. Lieutenant Sarah Kim tracked the initial conflicts on her advanced holographic display. The first incident seemed almost random, a mining vessel here, a communication outpost there. But patterns were emerging that suggested something more deliberate. The orbital collective, still dismissive of human capabilities, believed they could easily push back human expansion. Their military strategists viewed the human colonies as simple settlements, ripe for controlled elimination or forced relocation. On the planet Nova Prime, a human colony of nearly 50,000 settlers suddenly found themselves in the crosshairs of alien territorial claims. The colony's defense force was small but well-trained. Commander Hyun Lee, who led the local security team, knew they were being tested. Alien scout ships began making increasingly aggressive passes near human settlement boundaries. They would approach, scan, and retreat each time, pushing a little closer, testing human responses. It was a classic intimidation tactic designed to provoke a reaction. The first real confrontation happened unexpectedly. A small human cargo transport, carrying essential supplies to a distant research station, was intercepted by 3 alien warships. The ships were sleek, designed for combat, with energy signatures that suggested advanced weaponry. Unidentified human vessel, came the first transmission: "You are entering restricted space. Prepare for inspection and potential seizure." The cargo ship's captain, a woman named Elena Rodriguez, remained calm. She knew the protocols. Standard procedure was to maintain communication, document everything, and avoid direct confrontation. But the alien ships were not interested in standard procedures. They began to lock targeting systems, a clear threat of imminent attack. What the alien commanders didn't realize was that this seemingly simple cargo transport was far from defenseless. Beneath its ordinary exterior, the ship carried advanced defensive systems developed through years of careful research. When the first energy weapon discharged, targeting the transport's main hull, something unexpected happened. The weapon seemed to dissipate before making contact, absorbed by an invisible shield that shimmered momentarily with complex geometric patterns. The alien ships paused. This was not the response they expected. The transport's communication system lit up. A clear, calm voice transmitted back, "This is a protected vessel. Any further aggressive actions will be considered a direct violation of established interstellar protocols." Back on Nova Prime, Commander Hyun Lee watched the transmission logs. He knew this was more than just a simple skirmish. This was a calculated probe, designed to test human responses and potential weaknesses. Intelligence reports began flooding in from multiple sectors. The orbital collective was not acting alone. Multiple alien factions seemed to be coordinating their approach, testing human defenses systematically. Captain Jae-won Park reviewed the data with a growing sense of anticipation. The aliens were making a critical mistake. They viewed humans as a young, inexperienced species. They didn't understand the depth of human preparation and resolve. In secret military research stations scattered across human-controlled space, advanced weapon systems were being finalized. Ships like the USS Thunderbolt were being prepared, vessels that looked simple on the outside but carried technologies that would soon change the galactic balance of power. The tensions were growing. What had started as minor border disputes were rapidly evolving into something more significant. The galaxy was watching, and humanity was about to show its true capabilities. Small encounters were becoming more frequent. Each interaction revealed a little more about human technological capabilities. The aliens were gathering data, but they were also revealing their own strategies and weaknesses. Commander Hyun Lee looked at his team. "Stay alert," he said simply. "Something big is coming." And he was right. The growing tensions were just the beginning of a conflict that would reshape galactic relationships forever. The Crimson Nebula stretched across space like a wound in the darkness, its swirling red and purple gases creating a backdrop for what would become a legendary battle. The USS Thunderbolt emerged from quantum slipspace, commanded by Captain Hyun Kim, a veteran who carried years of strategic training in every calculated movement. Alien fleet commanders laughed when their sensors first detected the human vessel. It was small, almost insignificant compared to their massive battleships. Commander Ilara of the Stellar Alignment zoomed her holographic display, her reptilian features twisted in amusement. "One human ship," she remarked to her tactical team. "This will be less than a training exercise." The Thunderbolt moved with a grace that defied its size. Its exterior looked simple dark gray, minimal external weaponry, almost bland compared to the ornate alien vessels surrounding it. But looks could be deceiving. The first wave of alien attack came suddenly. Energy weapons that could slice through most planetary defenses discharged toward the human vessel. The commanders expected instant destruction. Instead, something remarkable happened. The Thunderbolt's shields absorbed the energy, not just blocking but transforming it. Where other ships would have been vaporized, this vessel seemed to drink in the destructive force, redistributing it through complex quantum systems that human engineers had spent decades developing. Captain Kim's voice remained calm. "Defensive pattern Delta," he said softly, his fingers dancing across advanced control interfaces. The ship responded like a living creature. It twisted, turned, and moved in patterns that seemed to defy standard physics. Alien targeting systems couldn't lock on. Weapon trajectories that should have guaranteed destruction suddenly found themselves redirected or absorbed. One by one, alien battleships began to fall. Not through massive explosions, but through precise, surgical strikes that disabled critical systems. The Thunderbolt wasn't just fighting, it was dismantling an entire fleet with mathematical precision. Commander Ilara watched in horror. Her most advanced vessels were being neutralized by a ship that looked like it could have been a simple transport craft. Her tactical displays showed systems failing, weapons becoming useless, navigation computers shutting down. "Impossible," she whispered. The battle lasted less than 30 minutes. When it was over, the Crimson Nebula was filled with drifting alien ship fragments. The Thunderbolt emerged without a single visible scratch, its systems humming with perfect efficiency. Lieutenant Sarah Kim, monitoring the transmission feeds, began compiling the battle data. Every moment was being recorded, every tactical decision documented. This wasn't just a victory, it was a message. Across the galaxy, communication networks began to buzz. Video feeds of the battle started spreading, showing how a single human vessel had decimated what was considered an unbeatable alien fleet. Captain Hyun Kim sat in his command chair, watching the surrounding space. No celebration, no dramatic speeches. Just a calm assessment of a mission completed. "Return trajectory," he said simply. The Thunderbolt's quantum drive engaged, leaving behind a battlefield that would become a turning point in galactic history. The aliens had laughed at human ships. They would not be laughing anymore. In research stations and military command centers across human space, teams were already analyzing the battle. Every detail would be studied, every moment of the Thunderbolt's performance would be understood and potentially improved. The message was clear: humanity was not what the alien races had assumed. They were not a young, inexperienced species to be pushed around. They were a force that had been preparing, watching, and waiting for the right moment. And that moment had just arrived. As the Thunderbolt slipped back into quantum space, leaving behind the destroyed alien fleet, one thing became absolutely certain: the galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. The video of the Thunderbolt's battle spread across communication networks faster than light itself. Every species in the Galactic Council watched, rewatched, and analyzed the footage repeatedly. What had seemed impossible was now undeniable reality. Commander Ilara sat in her research center, her reptilian eyes scanning data streams that made less and less sense with each review. The human vessel had not just survived, it had systematically dismantled an entire advanced fleet with surgical precision. Her teams of top analysts worked around the clock, trying to understand the technology that made such a performance possible. "This is not random," she muttered to her lead researcher, a tall silicon-based creature named Carrie. "This is deliberate. Planned." Transmission centers across multiple star systems buzzed with discussions. Military strategists who had previously mocked human capabilities now sat in stunned silence. The recordings from the Crimson Nebula battle became the most studied piece of tactical data in recent galactic history. On Earth, military command centers monitored the alien reactions carefully. Captain Jae-won Park understood that this was more than just a battle, it was a statement. Humanity was showing its true potential without saying a single word. The Stellar Alignment, the most powerful collective of alien civilizations, called an emergency council meeting. Representatives from dozens of advanced species gathered in a massive circular chamber, holographic displays showing the Thunderbolts' battle performance from multiple angles. "How did we miss this?" asked a delegate from the Quantum Collective. "How could we not see their technological development?" The answer was simple. Humans had been preparing quietly, developing technologies in secret, waiting for the right moment. They had not been interested in showing off or proving themselves prematurely. They had been patient. Intelligence reports began flooding in. Human research stations, previously thought to be simple scientific outposts, were revealed to be advanced technological development centers. Each station had been working on specific technological challenges, creating solutions that were now changing the entire understanding of space warfare. Lieutenant Sarah Kim compiled the data transmissions, ensuring that every detail was documented. She understood the historical significance of this moment. This was more than a military victory, this was a fundamental shift in galactic power dynamics. Alien military academies began studying the Thunderbolts' tactical movements. How could a single vessel move with such precision? How could its defensive systems absorb and redirect energy weapons? The questions were endless. The economic implications were equally significant. Trade negotiations that had previously treated humans as minor players now saw a complete reversal. Human technology, once considered primitive, was now the most sought-after commodity in the galaxy. Captain Hyun Kim, commander of the Thunderbolt, remained silent. He didn't need to make speeches or dramatic declarations. The battle had spoken for itself. Research teams discovered that human technological development was based on a fundamentally different approach. While most alien species focused on massive, complex systems, humans had developed compact, efficient technologies that could adapt and transform rapidly. The quantum slipspace technology of the Thunderbolt was particularly fascinating. It could navigate through space in ways that defied previous scientific understanding. Alien scientists realized they were looking at technological concepts they had never even imagined. Communication channels between human and alien territories, which had been tense and formal, now buzzed with a new energy. Respect had replaced condescension. Curiosity had replaced mockery. Commander Ilara completed her initial report. The conclusion was clear and simple: humans were not what they had seemed. They were not a young, inexperienced species. They were a carefully prepared, technologically advanced civilization that had been waiting for the right moment to reveal their true capabilities. The galaxy would never be the same. The balance of power had shifted, and everyone knew it. As holographic displays continued to show the Thunderbolts' incredible performance, one thing became absolutely certain: the age of underestimating humans was definitively over. The diplomatic chambers were quiet, but the tension was electric. Representatives from multiple alien civilizations sat around a massive circular table, holographic displays showing the detailed records of the Thunderbolts' battle performance. Captain J1 Park represented humanity, calm, professional, showing no hint of triumph or aggression. His simple presence seemed to speak volumes more than any words could express. Commander Ilara, who had once mocked human capabilities, now led the diplomatic discussions. Her previous confidence had been replaced by a careful, measured approach. The reptilian features that once showed contempt now revealed a complex mix of respect and caution. "Humanity has demonstrated capabilities we did not anticipate," she began, her translation device converting her complex language into clear, simple English. The negotiations were unlike any previous galactic meetings. Where once aliens had spoken down to humans, now they listened carefully. Every word, every gesture was measured. The balance of power had fundamentally shifted. Lieutenant Sarah Kim monitored the communication channels, ensuring every detail was documented. She understood this was more than a diplomatic meeting, this was a historic moment that would reshape galactic relationships. Trade discussions took on a new dimension. Human technologies were now the most valuable commodity in the known universe. Alien civilizations that had previously ignored human colonies now sought collaborative agreements. Research partnerships, technology exchanges, and strategic alignments were being discussed with unprecedented seriousness. Captain Hyun Kim, commander of the Thunderbolt, sat quietly in the background. he didn't need to speak. The battle had already told humanity's story more powerfully than any words could. The stellar alignment, once the most dismissive of human potential, now proposed joint exploration missions. They wanted to understand how humans had developed such advanced technologies. Every alien scientist was desperate to learn, to comprehend the quantum systems that had so dramatically changed their understanding of technological development. Economic models were being rewritten. Human research stations, previously considered minor outposts, were now seen as critical technological development centers. Investment proposals from alien corporations began flooding Earth's communication networks. "We underestimated you," Commander Ilara admitted directly. It was a statement unprecedented in galactic diplomatic history, a powerful civilization openly acknowledging a critical miscalculation. The human delegation remained composed. They didn't gloat or celebrate. They simply listened and responded professionally, demonstrating that their technological superiority was matched by diplomatic maturity. Research exchanges became the new priority. Alien academies wanted to understand human approaches to technology development. How could such a seemingly young species develop systems that defied previous scientific understanding? Communication channels that had been tense and formal now buzzed with genuine curiosity. Respect had completely replaced the previous condescension. Alien civilizations that had once seen humans as insignificant now viewed them as a critical player in galactic dynamics. The Thunderbolts battle was more than a military victory. It was a statement about human potential, about patience, about the power of careful preparation. Captain J1 Park understood the significance of this moment. Humanity had not sought conflict, but when challenged, they had demonstrated their capabilities with surgical precision. No dramatic speeches were needed. The actions had spoken clearly. As the diplomatic discussions continued, one thing became absolutely certain: the galaxy had fundamentally changed. The age of underestimating humans was over. A new era of understanding, respect, and potential collaboration had begun. The holographic displays continued to show the Thunderbolts' incredible performance, a silent reminder of the technological leap humanity had achieved. Alien representatives who had once laughed now watched with a mixture of respect, wonder, and a newfound sense of caution. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage. And they had done so not with aggression, but with a calm, calculated demonstration of their true potential. The universe would never be the same again.